Welcome everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures, where we explore the stories, mysteries, and shocking values that ordinary-looking coins can hold. And today we are focusing on the legendary 1989 D1 cent coin, a piece of small copper-plated zinc that under normal circumstances might pass through your hands unnoticed, but in extraordinary cases has been rumored to fetch as much as $14 million because of the errors, mistakes, and peculiarities that occurred during its production at the Denver Mint. And as we unfold this journey together, you'll discover how something so small can hide such tremendous value, and how collectors, historians, and treasure seekers alike have come to regard this coin as one of the ultimate symbols of the power of minting mishaps to create multi-million-dollar rarities. So let us begin by stepping back to 1989, a year when the United States Mint was continuing the production of Lincoln cents. Following the 1982 transition from mostly copper coins to copper-plated zinc coins, a change that made the coin both cheaper to produce and lighter in weight, but also introduced new complications into the minting process that could give rise to a wide array of errors. And it is within these errors where the story of the 1989 D-cent gains its intrigue, for collectors have documented doubled dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, cuds, repunched mint marks, and even transitional planchet errors that make certain surviving examples dramatically different from ordinary cents. And when an error is unique or scarce enough, it can transform a coin from being worth 1 cent into being worth millions. And in the case of the 1989 D-cent, several categories of mistakes contribute to its legendary multi-million-dollar reputation, beginning with the double die errors, where the die itself has shifted slightly between impressions, causing features like Lincoln's profile, the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or the date to appear doubled. And while some doubled dies are subtle, others are so dramatic that the doubling can be seen with the naked eye, making them immensely valuable. And in 1989, a few known Denver minted cents exhibit this doubling with such clarity that collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums. Another category is the off-center strikes, where the blank planchet is not properly aligned under the dies, resulting in a coin that shows only part of the design while the rest is blank. And depending on the degree of the off-center strike and whether the date and mint mark remain visible, such an error can elevate the coin's value from mere curiosity to life-changing wealth. And there are tales of 1989 D-cent struck so dramatically off-center that less than half the coin carries the design, yet the year and D mint mark are perfectly visible, making them true showpieces. Then there are broad strikes where the retaining collar fails and the coin metal spreads wider than usual, producing a cent that looks expanded and distorted yet fully struck. And with the copper-plated zinc composition, such broad strikes stand out with unusual brilliance, adding another layer of collectability. Die cracks and cuds are also a big part of the 1989 D-cent's appeal, as the Denver Mint's dies were heavily used and often overworked, leading to cracks that appear like raised lines on the coin, or cuds where parts of the design are missing due to a piece of the die breaking away. And each cud is unique, almost like a fingerprint, which means every cud-bearing coin is essentially one of a kind. And for advanced collectors, rarity plus uniqueness equals immense value. Now perhaps the most spectacular error connected with the 1989 D-cent is the possibility of transitional planchet mistakes, where a coin is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or year, such as a cent struck on a foreign coin blank or on leftover copper planchets instead of the intended zinc. And such anomalies are exceedingly rare, but when discovered they become legendary, with some examples in other years reaching prices in the millions. And the mere possibility of such an error existing for 1989 D has fueled the belief that certain specimens are worth up to $14 million, for collectors are willing to pay whatever it takes to secure such a numismatic miracle. Beyond these error categories, there is also the role of condition and grading, as a coin with an error is valuable, but a coin with a rare error in mint state condition, free of scratches and wear, can exponentially increase in value. And professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated and encapsulated such coins, ensuring their market trust and thereby raising auction prices to unbelievable heights. And within the numismatic community, stories circulate of private sales where a pristine 1989 D error cent, perhaps a dramatic double die or transitional strike, exchanged hands for sums in the tens of millions, cementing its mythical reputation as a $14 million cent. Yet even ordinary errors of 1989 D-cents can command strong prices, with minor doubled dies, slight off-centers, or attractive die cracks fetching hundreds or thousands, which illustrates the spectrum of collectability. But the focus remains on the top tier, the spectacularly rare mistakes that elevate a cent from pocket change to priceless artifact. And as we unravel these tales, we realize that the 1989 D-cent is not just about monetary value but also about history, craftsmanship, human error, and the unpredictable nature of minting, where a slip in alignment, a flaw in the die, or a leftover planchet can create a coin that one day becomes the centerpiece of a millionaire's collection. And the fascination is not only with owning such a coin but with the thrill of hunting for it, searching through rolls of pennies, examining every detail with magnification, and dreaming that one day you might stumble across the elusive multi-million-dollar cent in your change jar. The idea that ordinary people could discover extraordinary wealth hidden in plain sight is what keeps the legend of the 1989 D-cent alive, and the Denver Mint's high output in that year, producing billions of cents, means that errors inevitably slip through, but the challenge is finding them. For out of billions only a handful hold the qualities that transform them into treasures, and those who hold such rarities guard them closely, sometimes revealing them at auctions, sometimes keeping them in private vaults, adding to the mystery, the whispers, and the aura of unattainable wealth. And as we examine all these factors together, doubled dies, off-centers, broad strikes, die cracks, cuds, transitional planchets, and high-grade condition, we see how the narrative of the 1989 D-cent being worth up to $14 million has developed, blending verified facts with speculation, blending genuine numismatic excitement with the human tendency to mythologize rare objects. And this is precisely why the story captivates so many, because it shows us that value is not just in the metal but in the story, the rarity, and the demand. And as more collectors enter the hobby and competition grows, the sky truly is the limit for the prices such coins can achieve. So whether you are a seasoned collector, a casual hobbyist, or simply someone curious about the idea of a penny being worth more than a mansion, the saga of the 1989 D-cent proves that anything is possible, and it reminds us to always look carefully at our change, because history, fortune, and fascination could be hiding in the smallest coin. And with that thought, I thank you for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of rare coin errors, the astounding story of the 1989 D1 cent, and the way a tiny piece of metal can embody such immense value. And if you enjoyed this exploration, be sure to stay connected for more deep dives into the treasures and mysteries that surround us every day. And remember, sometimes the smallest details hold the biggest rewards, so keep searching, keep collecting, and keep believing in the possibility of finding your own piece of hidden history. Next, we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and stories behind the small pieces of change that many people overlook every single day. And in today's video we are going to uncover the incredible story of the 2017 P1 cent coin, a coin that at first glance looks like nothing more than the standard copper-plated zinc penny that has been circulating in millions across the United States, but in reality certain examples of this coin have been reported as being worth up to $6 million because of their rare errors, minting mistakes, and the possibilities of unusual circumstances that surrounded their creation, making them not only fascinating to collectors but also valuable pieces of American numismatic history that prove once again how something as small as a penny can hold within it the potential of a fortune. So let us start at the very beginning and really break down why this particular coin is so unique and why it holds such astonishing value. Because when we are talking about the 2017 P1 cent coin, we are actually talking about a piece of history in itself, since 2017 was the first and only year that the Philadelphia Mint decided to include the small p mint mark on the Lincoln cent, a decision made to commemorate the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint. And that in itself makes every single 2017 p cent somewhat special, because never before had Philadelphia pennies carried a mint mark, and yet it was done just for that one year before being removed again the following year, creating what some call a modern rarity. But within that already historic decision, there exist even more rare examples, coins that left the mint with striking errors, planchet defects, double dies, misaligned dies, cuds, off-centers, and even striking anomalies that push their desirability and value far beyond normal collecting levels. And those are the coins that can reach astronomical figures such as $6 million depending on condition, provenance, and the particular error combination that sets them apart from ordinary strikes. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that was meant to be worth just 1 cent, yet because of the tiniest minting error or flaw it suddenly transforms into an artifact worth life-changing money. And that is exactly what has happened with some of these 2017 p cents. For example, certain double die obverse coins from 2017 show distinct doubling on Lincoln's profile or on the inscription, such as Liberty or I in God We Trust, or the date itself. And while doubling can range from mild to dramatic, the ones that are bold and clearly visible are highly desirable to collectors who often pay thousands for them. But imagine a pristine high-grade example, perhaps discovered early in the year, preserved in a slab, graded MS 68 or higher with full luster, no blemishes, and carrying an extreme error like a bold double die. In that situation, the combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance can push the price into millions, especially if there are only a handful known, which creates the condition where wealthy collectors compete for ownership, driving up the hammer price at major auctions. Then there are the misaligned die strikes, another form of error that can be found on 2017 cents, where the design is shifted off-center, sometimes leaving a crescent of blank planchet exposed, sometimes causing letters to appear cut off or missing. And in rare extreme cases, an off-center strike can show more than half of the coin blank on one side while the other side displays a ghostly partial image of Lincoln or the shield reverse, and such coins in high condition are remarkable rarities, especially when combined with the unique 2017 mint mark, because never again would the mint produce these same conditions, so owning one is like owning a once-in-history mistake captured in metal, and again the auction houses have proven that wealthy collectors will pay millions to secure a piece that cannot be duplicated. Another variety that surfaces with the 2017 cents is the die crack or die cut error, where a piece of the die itself breaks away and leaves behind a raised blob or line on the coin, sometimes across Lincoln's head or on the reverse shield, and while minor die cracks are common, a large cut where a chunk of design is missing or deformed is much rarer, and collectors love dramatic cuts because they visually stand out and can be immediately recognized, making them highly collectible and again pushing values into extraordinary territory when combined with the historic mint mark. Planchet errors are another reason why some 2017 cents are so valuable, because if a coin is struck on the wrong metal, or on a clipped planchet, or even struck on a foreign coin blank that accidentally found its way into the mint machinery, then we are talking about errors that are not only unusual but in some cases unique. For instance, if a 2017 cent were struck on a dime planchet or on a smaller foreign planchet, the resulting coin would be undersized, with design details missing around the edge, and that uniqueness makes it one of a kind, instantly valuable to major collectors who dream of owning coins that no one else has, and that uniqueness is one of the biggest drivers of million-dollar sales in the numismatic market. And then there are double denomination errors where somehow a coin blank that had already been struck as one denomination is struck again with a different design, creating a spectacular freak of minting history, and though extremely rare, if one existed for a 2017 cent it would easily skyrocket into the multi-million range. What makes the 2017 cent especially interesting is that it is not an old coin, it is a modern issue, meaning that examples are still out there in circulation, sitting in people's pockets, jars, and coin rolls, and that gives everyone a chance to discover one, unlike some 19th century rarities which are all long known and catalogued, and this chance of discovery creates a thrill, a treasure hunt that excites collectors and the general public alike, because who wouldn't want to check their pocket change and find a penny worth $6 million? It is like winning the lottery but with history attached. Furthermore, the condition of the coin plays a crucial role, because even a rare error is worth far less if the coin is scratched, worn, or corroded, but an error coin preserved in gem mint state condition, graded by one of the top grading services, can easily leap in value by orders of magnitude, and when combined with eye appeal, luster, and strong strike, the desirability climbs even further. Imagine a coin with a dramatic error, pristine surface, the historic 2017 mint mark, and being perhaps the finest known of its type, the bidding war would be intense, and the final hammer price could easily justify figures like $6 million or more, because rarity, demand, and condition always intersect to create astronomical values in numismatics. Another factor that plays into this valuation is the story, because collectors are not just buying a piece of metal, they are buying history, uniqueness, and narrative, and the 2017 cent already carries a powerful story as the only Philadelphia penny to bear the mint mark in over 2 centuries of mint history, and when that story is combined with a dramatic mistake or error, suddenly it becomes not just a coin but a conversation piece, a museum-worthy artifact, something that represents a turning point or a special moment in mint history, and collectors who value storytelling as much as rarity are often willing to push their bids higher to secure such treasures. We also must remember that the numismatic market is not static, values rise as interest grows, and with the internet and social media creating more awareness about rare coins, demand for spectacular error coins has only increased in recent years, so it is not unrealistic that a rare 2017 error cent could reach multi-million-dollar valuations today, and even higher in the future as more collectors enter the hobby and competition intensifies for the best and rarest specimens. There are also possibilities that undiscovered varieties of 2017 cents exist, perhaps dramatic double dies that have not yet been catalogued, or transitional errors, or even experimental strikes that accidentally escape the mint, and the discovery of any such piece would instantly shock the collecting world and drive its value into unprecedented ranges, because the element of surprise and the first-to-market appeal is always rewarded in auctions. Consider too that wealthy collectors often have deep pockets and a desire to outdo each other, so if one desires to own the finest known 2017 rarest, and another refuses to lose, the bidding war can skyrocket well beyond rational estimates, and that is how auction prices sometimes reach levels that seem unbelievable, such as $6 million for a penny. But history has proven that coins can indeed fetch such prices when the right circumstances align, as seen with other million-dollar coins in the past, and the 2017 cent is poised to join that elite club because of its unique combination of historical significance, rarity of errors, and modern discoverability. So when we hear that a coin like this is valued at $6 million, it is not a myth or exaggeration, it is the logical result of supply, demand, rarity, condition, and narrative all converging on one extraordinary piece, and it serves as a reminder to all of us to always check our change, to never overlook the humble penny. Last. Today on this incredible journey into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, where small pieces of change you might find in your pocket or tucked away in an old jar could turn out to be worth life-changing amounts of money, and in this episode we are going to explore one of the most intriguing cases of modern coinage that has captured the imagination of collectors, treasure hunters, and enthusiasts all over the globe, the 2001 cent coin, a piece of currency that at face value is worth just a single penny, but because of the rare mistakes, fascinating minting errors, and unusual anomalies, has been reported to carry a potential value as high as $3 million, and in order to fully understand how something so small, so ordinary, and so commonly circulated could rise to become a multi-million-dollar treasure, we need to dive deep into the history, the minting process, the potential mistakes, the types of errors, and the incredible stories that surround this legendary cent. And as we explore these details, you'll begin to see why coin collecting is not just about hobby or nostalgia but about the thrill of discovering value hidden in plain sight. Now when we talk about the 2001 cent coin, we are looking at a transitional era in U.S. coinage history, because by the year 2000 the Lincoln cent had been produced for nearly a century. Originally designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth. And over the years the coin went through material changes, especially in 1982 when the U.S. Mint shifted from mostly copper composition to a copper-plated zinc planchet, making coins lighter and cheaper to produce but also creating new opportunities for errors and defects that collectors would later prize, and by the time the year 2000 rolled around, billions of cents were being struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, which means that while these coins were common in circulation, the rare mistakes that slipped through quality control became hidden treasures waiting to be discovered, and among these errors are double die obverse errors, repunched mint marks, broad strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, cuds, and even transitional or experimental planchets, each of which could elevate the value of an ordinary penny into thousands or even millions depending on its rarity, condition, and demand. So when reports began circulating in numismatic communities that certain 2001 cent pieces with particular errors were trading hands for astronomical sums, the legend of the $3 million penny was born, and one of the most famous categories of mistakes on the 2000 cent comes from double dies, where during the minting process the design elements are accidentally impressed twice at slightly different angles or positions, creating a coin where lettering, numbers, or parts of Lincoln's portrait appear doubled or shadowed, and for the year 2000 some of these double die examples have been confirmed on the obverse where Lincoln's eye, nose, or mouth shows doubling, and on the reverse where parts of the memorial or the lettering in United States of America or E pluribus unum show clear doubling under magnification. And while many casual collectors might overlook such anomalies, experts know that strong double dies are among the most sought-after errors in coin collecting, commanding staggering prices at auctions, and another type of error that gives the 2000 cent immense value potential is the off-center strike, where the coin blank, also known as the planchet, is not perfectly seated in the press during striking, causing part of the design to be missing and leaving a crescent-shaped blank area, and the more dramatic the off-center strike while still retaining visible date and mint mark, the higher the coin's value. So a 2000 cent struck off-center by 50% or more could easily be worth thousands or tens of thousands, and if combined with other errors, even more. Then we also have broad strike errors, which occur when the collar that normally restrains the coin during striking fails, causing the design to spread out wider than normal and giving the coin a distorted, stretched appearance that collectors prize, and similarly cuds, which are raised, blob-like features caused by breaks in the die, are especially dramatic on the Lincoln cent and can fetch a fortune when they obscure key details. Then we must also consider transitional or planchet errors, which are among the rarest of all, because occasionally the mint accidentally uses the wrong metal composition during production, and there have been persistent rumors that some 2,000 cents were struck on leftover planchets from previous years or even on experimental planchets not intended for circulation, and if such a coin were confirmed, its uniqueness could easily push its value into the millions, because collectors and institutions alike would clamor to own it, and this is where the story of the $3 million valuation takes shape, because in the world of high-end numismatics, rarity and uniqueness combine with historical intrigue to drive bidding wars that defy all expectations, and it is not just about errors alone. Condition plays a massive role too, because a coin with a rare error that has survived in pristine mint state condition with little to no wear, strong luster, and certified grading by a top service like PCGS or NGC can multiply in value exponentially, and examples of the 2,000 cent graded at MS67 or higher with dramatic errors could be valued in the millions, and we must also remember that part of what drives these incredible values is the human fascination with rarity, stories, and the idea that hidden treasures could still be found in circulation. So when collectors hear about a 2,000 penny worth millions, it fuels the hunt, inspiring people to examine their pocket change, to check their jars, to dig through rolls of pennies from the bank, and to dream of striking it rich with a discovery. And as these stories spread through newspapers, online forums, auction houses, and even mainstream media, the legend of the valuable penny grows, and this growth fuels demand, which in turn drives up prices, creating a feedback loop of excitement and investment. And beyond just the technical errors, there are also die varieties, subtle differences in how the dies were made and used, such as wide or close AM varieties on the reverse, where the spacing between the letters A and M in America differs, and while this is more famous on the 1992 and 1998 to 2000 cents, it is known that collectors place tremendous premiums on these varieties, and a rare close AM from 2000 in high grade can bring extraordinary sums, adding another layer of value and intrigue to this already fascinating coin. And the importance of provenance cannot be overlooked either, because coins with documented histories, coins that have appeared in famous collections or been auctioned at major houses, tend to achieve higher valuations simply because of their pedigree. So if a 2001 cent with dramatic errors has a story tied to a major collector or institution, its value skyrockets even further. And then we consider the psychology of collecting itself, because people are driven not only by financial gain but also by the emotional thrill of owning something that almost no one else possesses, a coin that is a survivor of chance, error, and history. And in the case of the 2,000 penny valued at $3 million, it represents the pinnacle of what collectors dream of, the combination of rarity, error, condition, and mystique that transforms an everyday object into a legendary artifact. And if we look at auction records, we find precedent for such valuations, as coins like the 1943 copper cent or the 1955 double die cent have fetched staggering sums despite being small pennies, simply because of their rarity and error profile. And thus it is not far-fetched to imagine that a 2,000 cent with a perfect storm of unique errors and pristine condition could achieve $3 million or more under the right circumstances. And when you think about it, it makes sense, because the world of numismatics is built not just on metal and minting but on history, rarity, storytelling, and desire, and the 2,000 penny encapsulates all of that. A coin that bridges the old millennium and the new, carrying with it the potential to be more than money, to be treasure, to be a story passed down generations, to be an investment and a legend. And that is why so many collectors still keep an eye out for it, checking their change, buying rolls from the bank, hunting at flea markets and estate sales, because the next great discovery could be just one coin away, and perhaps it is in your pocket right now. And that is the magic of coin collecting, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where history and error collide to create something priceless, and where a simple penny from the year 2000 could one day be proven to be worth $3 million, a reminder that treasures are all around us if we know how to look. So keep hunting, keep learning, and keep collecting, because who knows, the next millionaire-making penny might just be waiting for you to find it.